what is the best size chainsaw for cutting fire? We're going to talk about it right now. So to me, it's not so much a question what's the best size for cutting firewood, it's the right size saw for you. And we're going to talk about what you should look for, what's going to be the appropriate size depending on your ability, skills, and the quantity of wood, and what you're going to do with it all matters. So I have a lineup here of several saws. I've got a 592 XP Husqvarna. I've got a 572 XPG Husqvarna. I've got a 562 XP Husqvarna. I got an older 55 Rancher, and I've also got a 540 XP. So this is a 90 class CC saw. This is a 70 class CC saw. This is a 60 class CC saw. The 55 Rancher, I believe, is a 50 CC saw size rating, and the 40 is about a 40 CC saw. Now, that might not be exact. That might be 39. This one might be 51. This one might be 61 and a half and 3/4. I don't know. The 572 might be a 69 or a 71 CC saw. The 592 I think is like a 93 CC saw. Don't quote me in the exact numbers. All I know is the class. This is a 90, 70, 60, 50, 40. And that is a good range of saws. Now, some of you may be asking yourself, well, how come there's so much orange here? Well, the reason is I started with Husqvarnas years ago. It's what my brother and dad used, so that's what I started buying. Then with my channel, the company, Husqvarna, started giving me stuff because they want their products seen. So this 562, that 540, I've got a top handle they gave us. They gave us several other saws to use. Now there's bigger saws than the 592. I have two 3120s. So that's a 120 cc saw. There is a 585 Husqvarna, which is an 80 some cc saw. There are 55 cc saws. They're smaller than the 540. You can get saws all the way down to the 20 or 25 cc class. But this in general is a good range of sizes of saws that you can choose from. Now, we're going to talk about why you would choose one over the other and what to look for and what might be best for you. So like I said, it's not so much what's the best saw for cutting firewood, it's the best saw for you that matters, depending on where you are. We're going to talk about that. So on the upper end, first off, I should say, these are all pro saws except for this 55 Rancher, this old guy back here. This one is pretty old. It's not a pro saw. The XP models are all pro saws, and what that means is you're going to have better components, better build, they're going to last longer. It's worth the extra money. Don't think you're going to save money by buying a amateur or a entry level or a homeowner saw. You're not. Unless you only cut once every year for 10 minutes, get a pro saw. They're way better. They're going to hold their value better. They're going to last longer. You're going to be able to cut more wood. It's going to be more dependable. Get a pro saw. That's just my 2 cents right off the bat. Next thing, depending on your experience, if you've never cut wood before, do not start with a 592. Start with something like this little guy back here, or better yet, if you're just starting out, buy a used saw. Buy a smaller saw, a 40, a 30, maybe 40, 50 cc saw is a good place to start. Probably around a 40 or 50 cc will cut a lot of wood and do a fine job for you until you learn how to run a saw. First off, I want to say is if you're going to do that and you've never cut before, get safety gear and wear it. Wear chaps, wear gloves, wear steel-toed boots, wear a helmet, wear ear protection, wear eye protection. That all matters because I want you guys to be around for a while to be able to watch the videos and be able to cut more wood. So stay healthy. Don't be stupid. Don't be that guy that thinks, oh, I'll be fine. I know a lot of guys personally that have cut their legs, cut their arms, cut their heads, had major problems because of chainsaws. They're a dangerous thing. There's a reason that people are afraid of them. They should be. You need to respect it for what it is. It's a dangerous tool that can cause death and dismemberment very quickly. So wear your safety gear. When you're first starting out, you want a small saw because they're easier to handle. There's not as much power as far as problems that you're going to have. So start with a small one, and you can always have it for a backup saw. You can always get a better saw later, but start with a small one, a 40 or 50 cc saw. But if you've got some experience, a 60 and 70 cc saw to me is like the sweet spot. And it doesn't matter what brand. If you're a Stihl person, fine. If you're an Echo person, fine. If you're a Husqvarna person, fine. Those are the three major players that make good quality pro saws. Nobody else really makes pro stuff out there anymore. There used to be companies, but those are the three major players. And you're going to want to go to a pro shop and talk to a professional dealer. Talk to someone that does this for a living, and they can give you expert advice, and they're going to hopefully tell you the truth as far as what to get. Don't be embarrassed and say, well, I've never run a saw before, I don't know what to get. Say that. I've never run a saw before, I don't know what to get. They're going to ask you, what are you going to do with it? Are you going to trim a little brush? This is all you're going to need. Maybe you want a battery saw. I personally don't care for battery saws. I like gas. I like the dyno juice. I like to be able to run it, fill it back up, run it, fill it back up, run it, fill it back up, run it, over and over and over. I don't want to wait around for batteries or have to quit work because the batteries died, or to have to buy expensive batteries that within a year, 2, 3 at the most are obsolete and they've got something better and your batteries die and you got to replace them. And they're hundreds of dollars for batteries. They make gas every day and you can go get it anywhere. That's just me. That was my rant on the battery saws. They're handy for certain people. If you're arborist or something like that, or a person that cuts once a year, you trim a couple limbs, fine. Battery would do it. I prefer the gas myself, just because I like them. I like them a lot, just like my good friend Lloyd Christmas. So when it comes to these saws, if you're a person who has some experience, a 60cc is an excellent saw. It's a little bit smaller than the 70cc, cuts really good, cuts good enough for most people. You're gonna be able to cut longer with it. And that's one thing a lot of people don't realize. You get a smaller saw, you can cut longer. However, because it's a smaller saw, you're gonna have to cut longer because it cuts slower. You don't have as much power. I can cut 3 times as much wood as my 592 as I can with my 540. Maybe 4 times as much. It's way faster, way more powerful, but I get tired faster. But that's okay because I can get it done faster. So those are things to consider. Now, when you're picking out a saw, the CC size matters more than the bar size. The bar size is what you can handle and what you're comfortable with. This little guy up on top, I think, has an 18-inch bar. I think this one here is an 18-inch bar. It actually says, yes, it's an 18-inch bar. All of my other saws, I generally run 24-inch bars because for me, for cutting firewood, that's the right size. If I'm going to be felling trees, a 24-inch bar, if you cut from both sides, will let you cut a 40-inch tree easily. 48-inch tree, that's 4 feet across. Not a lot of those out there unless you're in the West Coast and you're in the Northwest where you're actually cutting timber. Then yeah, maybe you want a 36-inch or a 48-inch bar or 60-inch. I've got a 60-inch bar and I've used it. It's a pain in the butt. It's way hard to handle. I prefer the 24-inch. When I'm standing upright, I can keep my back straight. And when I cut all the way down, I just miss the ground. Once I go to a 28-inch bar, I'm hitting the ground more, which means more sharpening, more change you're going to go through. So 24-inch to me is the sweet spot. 20-inch is good for almost anybody. And you can put a 24-inch bar on almost any saw and it'll cut. All the way from a weenie saw, all the way up to a really big saw. Weenie saw meaning 30 or 40 cc, 18-inch, 16-inch bars is probably what you're going to want. Once you get to a 50 cc, 60 cc, 20-inch bar is kind of like the smallest, up to a 24, maybe a 28. But like I said, I like the 24-inch bars the best. The reason I have them on all mine is because I have them on all mine. I've got the same bar, same chain, size on all of my saws that I use all the time. And that's these 3 sizes, the 60, 70, and the 90cc saws. So the right saw for you, like I said, depends on your experience, depends on what you're going to do with it. Now, if you're going to buy a saw because you bought a new house and you've got a wood stove or you've got a fireplace and you plan on having a lot of wood, I still would recommend getting a 50 or 60cc saw and get a pro saw. Don't be cheap, get a decent one. You won't regret it. I have had guys on my channel that have told me, I've been cutting for 20 years with a 40cc saw and it does everything I need. Well, good for you. I'm happy for you. And then I've had some of those same guys then respond back to me because their saw was getting old and they needed another one or they just wanted to try something else. And they'll go and they'll get a 60 or a 70cc saw and they will say the same thing every single time. You were right. I was wrong. I should have done this years ago. I can't believe how much better a bigger saw is, how much faster you can cut, how much more wood you can cut, how much time you can save. A big saw is faster. There's a reason that the race cars, the Indy cars, the NASCARs, the cars that they race with, there's a reason that they're using what they have. They're fast. They're faster. They're not out there driving a a little bitty smart car. They're out there using cars that are fast because they get there faster. They win the race. If you want to win the race, get a bigger saw. You won't regret it. Worst case scenario, it's too much for you, you sell it, you get your money back. They hold their value. If you get a consumer saw or a prosumer saw or a saw that's the homeowner size, you know, the little bitty weenie ones, a little 30, 40, 50 cc saw, off-brand, something that's made in China, the value on that is almost nothing because they're made to be disposable. Get a pro saw, go to a pro shop. Did you hear that? There you go. Now, what we're going to do, I'm going to run the 592 first, then I'm going to run the 572, then I'm going to run, or maybe the 62, or maybe the 40 cc saw. We're going to run these on this log pile that the chainsaws are on. I'm going to cut this wood up. And the reason I'm going to cut it up is it's a nice day, number one. I've got time, number two. Number three, a lot of this wood is actually dry and ready to burn, but I don't know until I get it cut and split because some of it's wet inside and I won't know until I get it cut and split. So I'm going to cut this whole pile right now. And then tomorrow, my plan is I'm going to split it. And as I split it, I'm going to separate the dry stuff and the wet stuff. I'm going to throw it into two different piles because the dry stuff I can sell right away because some of this wood is from dead standing trees that have been in the woods drying, standing for 4 or 5 or 6 years. And a lot of this wood has been cut for a full year, so it's been sitting in log form for a year. So a lot of this I can see as vertical cracks all the way through, and then the ends are cracked. But on the inside, it's hard to tell because this is red oak, and red oak generally dries slow. So I want to get it cut, number one, so I can start sawing it. Number two, so it can start drying. Let's get cutting. So there's the saws. I've got them lined up here, and we're going to use a couple of them right now to cut in this pile. For those of you that are new to the channel, this right here is my marker. It's a zip tie that I put on there, or a cable tie. It's just taped on, and from the tip of this, where the pink duct tape is, to the bar is 16 inches. That's how I measure my cuts. It's fast, easy, simple, and it works, and it's cheap. before I start the saw up, I wanted to show you this. So this piece here, you can see by the color how light it is and how dark this one is. This, you can actually see the moisture. So this was fresh cut and so is this. But there's cracks all the way to the middle on this one. And this one here too, you can see these cracks that come in. These two pieces are completely dry, below 20%. They're probably going to be 16, 17%. This one right here is wet on the inside, which means it's going to be 35%, maybe more. Clearly heavier when I lift it. These are much lighter and they're dry. So that's why I'm cutting these. And some people would say, well, why don't you use a processor? I said, well, number one, because I like to cut. So I'm getting a little cutting in. I like to run the saws. I haven't cut in a while. I need the exercise. I'm old and fat and decrepit bag of rotten oatmeal. So I need the exercise. So I enjoy this. And I'm cutting this so that when I split it, I know which stuff can burn right away and be sold and which stuff needs to be put into the bins for 6 months, a year, whatever. All right, back to cutting. So there's the pile that we just cut up, and there is probably about a full 1.25 here. I did 3/4 of cutting with the big saw, the 592, because I like to run the big saw because you can get a lot done fast. It's so much power and so fast that it's fun to cut with. It is heavy, yes. Then I ran the little weenie saw, the 540, which was nice because it was so light. It was like a little child's toy. It cuts really good for a 40cc saw, but it's half the speed of this. It's half the size. This is 90 cc's or 93. This one is 39 or 40, whatever it is. So it's half the size. They both cut really nice. It's nice to have a couple different size saws. And like I said, if you're not sure what to get, start small and then get a bigger one later. Having a spare saw is a good plan. To me, If I had to pick just one, it would be a 70cc saw. Would do everything I wanted to do. It's not quite as big as a 90, but it's a lot bigger than a 40 or a 50. So that would be my #1 size saw. And it doesn't matter what brand. If you like Echo, the 7310 is a sweet saw. We've got one of those here. They gave us that, and it is great. I really like it. Got to cut with that again real soon. Then there's the 462 steel. Great saw. I've ran several of those. I like them a lot. That's a really nice size saw for a 70cc class. So there you go. We cut some wood. You got to see some saws in action. When you buy your saw, let me know what kind you got. I'd be interested in knowing. That's all I got for today, folks. I'll see you tomorrow morning, 5:30 a.m. with another video. Right now, go watch some more videos. There's 1,700 on my channel, just like this, all about firewood. You need to see them all. Good night, everyone.